said something to somebody at work, lost it, snapped on them, or rolled your eyes when you shouldn't have? Yeah, me too. I get it. It's funny how those crazy days have this way of making us say or do things that we regret later. Hey, my dear, I am leadership development coach Kathy Archer, author of best-selling book, Mastering Confidence. Today, we are talking about how to end that craziness, and I'm going to help you discover what that magic pill is to finding sanity. Welcome to the training room today. Bite-sized training for busy women leaders who want to lead with confidence. Because what I know is most of us women leaders hit some point in our career where we literally feel in over our heads, the world's caving around us, and we're wondering if we have what it takes to lead. In my online courses and in my coaching and in the sessions like today, I give you both the inner and outer tools to turn that around so you, my dear, can move from surviving to thriving in both your leadership and life. So again, today we are talking about how to end that craziness and find sanity. I'm going to pop on over and share this into my Confident Women Leaders group. Confident Women Leaders group is a group of women who are all in leadership positions or aspire to be in leadership positions and are trying to sort of figure out how to do it confidently and find a balanced life. While I'm doing that, what I want to know from you in the chat box is, what do you call it when you find those days are crazy? I have one client who calls it up to her neck in alligators. I have a client who calls it survival mode, which is what I often call it. Some people will call it sort of in the zoo, or I'm just running around in circles, or I just trying to keep my head above water. Right? What do you call it when you're in that crazy state? Because we all have different meaning or words for it. And I think sometimes if you can become more aware of the words that you're using, it's going to help you kind of go, red flag, I'm in that space again. I'm back in that survival mode. If you've been following along in my weekly videos, you know that I talk about that continuum from surviving to thriving. And often when we fall back into that survival mode place, we have these same sort of bits of phrases that come into our mind or that we tend to use. Just trying to keep my head above water, running in circles. It's just madness in here. It's insane, right? Think of the words that you use yourself or you use in your organization to talk about those times when you're basically all in survival mode or you yourself are in survival mode. And what we're going to talk about today is how the heck do you get out of there? Like, how do you end that where your mind is running around in circles, and then what you do is you lose it. You snap on someone. You make an inappropriate comment. You roll your eyes or throw your hands up or something that you really wish you hadn't done. You know it was kind of over the top, or something seeped out, a sarcastic comment, or, you know, that little bit of passiveness, passive aggressiveness, that kind of stuff. And then what we do later is we go, oh, that just didn't feel good. I didn't feel like I was in integrity. I didn't feel like I was my best self. I don't think I got my meaning across. I don't think I was helpful to that person. I'm afraid that I might have put, you know, her down or him down or not been helpful to them. And so what we often have, I'm going to go through 4 spots. What we have, what we do, what we desire, and then how we get there. So what we have is the madness, the craziness. What we do is we lose it. We let that snarky comment out. We're short with someone. We snap at someone. Or what we sometimes tend to do is withdraw or shut down. You know, we go to our office and shut the door, or we go work someplace else, or we let off this kind of energy around us that everybody's like, whoa, don't go around her today, right? And we kind of know that don't come close. What that tends to do when we do those things without meaning to is it damages our character. I'm working on my next book, and it's all about character development. And our character is how other people describe us. It's our reputation. It's, you know, what people say about us at Smoker's Corner or when we leave the room. That's kind of our character. And when we do those things, you know, maybe once it's not the end of the world. But when we tend to do that all the time, then people start describing us as the hothead, or she's that emotional one, or she can't handle stress, no patience, man, she's got no compassion. And that's how people define our character. And so when we do those things, when we're stressed out and crazy and in survival mode, that we don't mean to do, that we wish we could like pull those words back, that damages our character or reputation. And we really need to think about that. If we want to be most effective in leadership, we do need to have strong character. We do need to have that reputation that people respect, they admire us, they follow us, that they emulate us. I mean, we're trying to grow leaders below us, right? That's the whole job of a leader, is to grow the people underneath us. So often you have to ask yourself, what am I teaching my employees, especially in the tough situations? And here's, I think, one of the most critical things to think about. We often wonder, or we often work to be our best selves in the good times. But quite honestly, our character is defined by how we handle the bad times, the stressful times, the chaos, the fires that pop up, the incidences that show up, the things that you weren't prepared for, the overwhelm, the busy times, when, you know, a client comes back angry, or you, for me, I was talking in my email this morning to if you're on my email list, you will have gotten this, about the time that we lost a contract, a big contract. How did I respond then? How did I react to the people around me then? That's what defines our character. And we really need to focus on how do we, you know, maintain our cool when things are crappy. So we have that craziness. What we do is we lose it or snap, damages our character. What we desire is what we were just talking about, where people respect us and admire us, where we have the ability to manage what's going on around us and inside of us. We want to be decisive. We want to be level-headed. We want to be clear. We want to have compassion. We want to be patient. We want to be able to set limits and have conversations even when they are hard, even when they are difficult. And so if we're going to do that, how the heck do we do it? What's the magic pill to end that insanity? What's the way to get through all of that? So think about that for a minute. If we are going to deal with the craziness, not snap and lose it, and maintain our cool, how do we do that? Any ideas? What is it that's going to give you that level of calmness, composure, that ability to navigate the negativity perhaps that's going on, the rush of emotions that hit you when those crises or overwhelmed times or something happens? Here's the thing. The magic pill for ending that sanity, for being able to stay composed, for staying calm and level-headed in craziness, is called emotional intelligence. You've heard me talk about this before. This is not a new concept. Emotional intelligence is both recognizing and managing your emotions. And the thing is, what we try to do is we try to push our emotions away, stuff them down, shut them off, cut them off. But they're there. They're not going anywhere. And when we don't deal with them, they tend to hijack us. And so the catch is that you cannot be in control of something that you're not willing to face. Let me say that again, because this is a really important component, especially of effective leadership. You cannot be in control of something that you're not willing to face. So let me give you an example completely outside of this. If you're not willing to face your budget and look at how much you're overspending, you are not in control of your budget. If you're not willing to face how much you're eating and learn to manage what you're eating, you are not in control of your weight. If you are not willing to recognize that your marriage is falling apart and that it has been for a long time, you are not in control of your relationship. The same is true with your emotions. If you are not willing to face them, to identify them, to look at them, there is no way you are ever going to be able to manage them. And they are continually going to hijack you. You're going to be annoyed with somebody and you're going to think you have it under control, but in the middle of a meeting, that comment's going to fall out of your mouth and you are going to go, oh, I didn't mean to say that. Because you are not managing something because you've tried to shove it under. It's like those cartoons where, you know, everybody's like putting stuff in the suitcase and it's still falling out. That's what happens to us. We have this look on our face and we're pretending we are okay with things. Trust me, everybody in the room knows we are not okay with things. If we try to, you know, say, I'm good. You know, you've had that conversation. Somebody's like, hey, you know, something's going on. What's up with you? I'm fine. You are so not fine. But you haven't dealt with that emotion. And that's what we tend to do all the time. And then what happens is it builds and builds and builds and builds. And you get home and your kid does something and you lose it on them. Right? That's the way that emotions tend to hijack us or trigger us or fall out. And what you need to do to get control of yourself, to be able to manage those crazy days, is emotional intelligence. It is learning to both recognize and manage your emotions. I'm going to give you some examples here of why this is so critical. So one of the things that I often hear, sorry, I got to get a drink. I often hear and I often say, especially more so in the past, I'm a little bit more aware of this now, but is, oh my God, I'm never going to get it all done. Right? That sense of overwhelm. Oh my God, my to-do list is huge. I have all these meetings to go to and these things to do and these people to go to talk to. And I have all these projects that I haven't touched, right? Oh my God, I can't handle all this. All right, I'm never going to get this all done. Oh my God, I'm never going to get this all done. Now, here's a question for you. Think about the last time you said that or something similar to that. Were you feeling overwhelmed? Were you feeling inundated? Or were you actually feeling terrified that you couldn't handle all of it? Feeling overwhelmed is a way different place than feeling terrified. And if you're feeling terrified, it might be that your job is on the line, that this has been happening for a long time, and you've had maybe a couple of reprimands, you know, people, let me get the right terminology here, that you've been written up about it a couple times, or it's been commented on your performance appraisal, or somebody's addressed it. You might be at that point where you're thinking, my boss doesn't think that I can do this, or my board is not trusting my ability to handle this work. And you actually might be terrified. That's way different than just a sense of overwhelm. Perhaps you're feeling exhausted. Okay, so that's different again than perhaps feeling helpless. If you're exhausted, oh my God, how am I ever going to get this done? And you just run down, you probably need to go get a good night's sleep, right? Maybe 3 or 4 good nights sleep, or maybe you need a nap, or maybe you need to take a couple days off. But if you're feeling that you are, I can't remember what I just said. I have so many words here. You should see this piece of paper. It's crazy. If you're feeling helpless or incapable, that's about competence. And maybe you're like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to get this all done. And it's a project that you actually don't know how to do. And what you're going to have to do is get help for it. But when you can define which of those feelings you're actually feeling, that's when you can manage that feeling. Okay, I'm feeling helpless. I'm feeling lost. I'm feeling incapable. That's why I'm so overwhelmed. Okay, where do I go for help? Before you sit there for 3 days and try and work on that project, and on the day it's due, you fall apart. That's not managing things. That's, again, trying to push it all into that suitcase and pretend it's not there, but it's really there. Here's another example. Oh my God, that person or project is driving me crazy. Okay, right? Okay, let's take it as a person. Are you frustrated with that person, or are you disgusted with that person? Completely different feelings. Oh my God, that person is driving me crazy. What does crazy mean? Does it mean that you are feeling powerless with that person? You know, that person's driving me crazy. I never feel like I can do what around them, right? If they've never given you the power, you've never taken the power to have a decent conversation with them, to address something in front of them, and you feel like every time they walk in, they just cut your legs out from underneath you, that's powerless. I used to feel that way sometimes, where there was myself and a consultant on our team and my boss. And the consultant would often have these conversations that I wasn't a part of. And sometimes I would have a conversation with my boss, and this consultant's words to him would kind of come into the conversation. I'm like, where did that come from? And I didn't know that he'd had that conversation. The two of them had had that conversation. And so I always felt like I was lost, and it was very, very frustrating. And, there was times where I was frustrated. There was times when I was enraged and seething. Well, if I'm enraged and seething, I had better not go have a conversation with that person. I'd better do something to calm myself down before I go have a conversation with them. If I'm frustrated, that's a whole different ball of wax. I might is the key word here. I might be able to go have a level-headed conversation. Maybe not. Maybe I still need to bring it down a notch from frustrated. Maybe I need to bring it down to annoyed, or maybe I need to get clear on what it is I'm annoyed about. Am I annoyed that you keep going and talking to my boss? Or am I annoyed that you've impacted this work with a client that we've been doing? Right? Maybe it's both. But I need to be clear before I walk into that conversation. And again, if I'm seething, no conversation should be happening. Oh my God, I can't do this anymore. If you've said that, are you feeling discouraged? Are you feeling paralyzed? Are you feeling incompetent? Oh my God, I can't do this anymore. There have been days for me where literally I just packed it in and went home. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm just done, right? Now, if I tried to push through that, I probably would have said or done something that I shouldn't have done. Now, on other days when I say, oh my God, I can't do this anymore, it might be that I'm like, okay, I'm overwhelmed. How can I delegate? And so I have to figure out how to delegate. It's those range of emotions that helps us figure that out. If you can't identify where you're at on that spectrum, it's really hard to know what you need to do to deal with it, how you need to manage it. We often say, name it to tame it. If I'm angry, then I can deal with it. But if I pretend I'm not angry, I can't deal with it. If I'm annoyed with somebody and I name it inside my head, maybe not necessarily to them, I can manage when I'm going to have that conversation with that person. Does that make sense? You have to name it. You have to figure out what it is. You have to identify it. And we've spent so much time pushing those feelings down that often we even have trouble naming it. And that's the important thing about emotional intelligence. Recognize it and manage it. Now, I haven't even got into the whole part about recognizing it. Recognizing it, if you've been following along, is that whole inner guidance cycle. Pause, ponder. We talk about in ponder, what thoughts am I having, what feelings am I having, and what body sensations am I having? Frustration shows up different in my body than seething, right? Or if I am furious, those are two completely different feelings in my body. So that's the whole magic pill. If you can figure out how to recognize and manage your emotions, your crazy days will turn out completely different. You will be able to stay composed, remain calm, have compassion, be patient, even though everything around you is going nuts, even though somebody else is losing it and somebody else is frustrated and there's deadlines looming. You will be able to maintain a sense of composure, deal with things as a leader, as a respected leader that people want you to be, when you learn to both recognize and manage your emotions. Now, for some of us, again, this is hard work because we've spent so much time not wanting to bring emotions into the workplace. As women leaders, we've kind of learned that either literally or subconsciously that we don't bring emotions into the workplace. And I'm here to tell you that that is so not the way that's going to help you be the best leader. It's when you can recognize and manage your emotions, when you increase your emotional intelligence, that you will become the more strong, powerful, authentic leader that you have within you. And so I want to help you with that journey. On August 16th, I'm doing a 2-hour training session to help you learn to manage your emotions at work, to help you develop that sense of confidence around managing your emotions during those crazy times. So I've put the link up in the notes again. It's called Managing Your Emotions at Work, 2 hours online training, August 16th. I hope you will join me. I also added up there some links to another article on emotional intelligence and another quick little video. So if you're looking for more information on emotional intelligence, I've put it up in the notes. If you're ready to dive in and learn how you can be emotionally intelligent, join me on August 16th. We're going to get a better understanding of emotional intelligence. You're going to be able to practice identifying some of those emotions and practice becoming more emotionally intelligent. And you're going to create a plan to help you develop ongoing emotional intelligence. 2 hours, August 16th, online. Link is up in the notes. I hope you're going to join me there. If you have any questions following the replay, pop them in. I will answer them after. But do this work to start recognizing what's going on inside of you. That's really the magic pill to life. If you can start to get clear sense on what's going on in your head and in your heart and in your body, things will dramatically change for you. In that moment, literally in the snap of a finger, you'll be able to like pause the world around you and go, I'm not getting sucked into this. This drama, this toxic environment doesn't have to define me. These people's energy doesn't have to become the people around me, their energy does not have to become my energy. You get to decide, my dear. And it's when you become more emotionally intelligent that you really start to feel that inside of you, despite what's going on outside of you. You actually can influence what's going on outside of you, but you first have to get control of what's going on inside of you, inside your head, your heart, and your body. The thoughts, the feelings, and the body sensations. That's the key to getting more emotionally intelligent. Again, if you want to learn more about that, join me on August 16th. Link is up in the notes. Managing your emotions at work. I hope you join me there. It's when you take this magic pill, my dear, and you really work at developing that sense of managing those emotions because you've taken the time to recognize them and deal with them, that you are going to move from surviving to thriving in both your leadership and life. Go make the rest of your day awesome, my dear.